Yeah. I think lemon LaCroix. Lemonade. Is this lemonade? No, it's limoncello, so it's like fake lemonade. I think it may be one of the best LaCroix flavors. I really do love it. So I saw. Oh, jeez. Oh, my gosh. So I saw a lot, and I mean a lot of concerts this summer. And I am financially ruined. It's over, guys. No more money for me. The transition from high school senior year to college first year, I feel no one had a good time. Of all the friends that I asked, all of them said there was a pretty negative experience. So did I relax? No, I did not. I went to many shows across many locations and with many people. 12 shows. I did not intend initially to see 12 shows this summer. I'm not doing a tier list because that would frankly be pointless because every single show that I saw this summer was an S tier. None were even less than an S tier. They're all fantastic. So if you are one of my close friends watching this video, please do not take offense if I put one of the shows we went to extremely low, because I would go to that show with you again over and over again. They were all amazing experiences, but for the sake of keeping this video interesting, let's rank them. But yeah, I think it's important to note that these will all be ranked on heavy personal bias. Some of these shows I saw, the performance was amazing, but just getting there sucked. Or sometimes getting there and the experience of actually getting to the concert was amazing, but the performer maybe wasn't doing their best. But that elevated the performance. Some of these bands, I frankly just don't listen to that much. So this is just a very personal list, and honestly, why am I making this? Now, I love Black Midi. I own 2 of their vinyl. I had seen Black Midi previously already once in the glorious Spirit Hall in Pittsford, PA. They are one of my favorite bands, and I think one of the most revolutionary bands right now. But this one I was seeing in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, if you are a Pittsburgher, you will know that that is a very unfortunate place to go. But me and my one friend, Alexandra, were like, surely there are things to do. No. And we left early enough that I could get Swenson's, which is one of my favorite restaurants. And it poured on the way there. And I didn't even tell Alex until we were eventually through it, but I was hydroplaning at a point. And once we got there, you see, the plan was to get there early and to just beach bum, like, next to the lake. But it was raining, and the Canadian wildfires were happening. So we just couldn't do anything. So then we were like, oh, let's go to Main Street of Euclid, Ohio. And it's interesting. There was a pizza place that was really good. I really loved the pizza. We even saw a bunch of fans wearing Black Midi t-shirts, which was frankly just hilarious that all those people have the same t-shirts. And then we went to 2 record stores. One was more of a vintage market. There's a cafe, served the most mid-coffee possible. And we just had 2 hours to kill, so we just, like, sat in the car and, like, watched Instagram. Obviously, I'm not saying it's Black Midi's fault or Beachland's fault for being in kind of a shitty part of town, but, like, it impedes the experience, definitely. And after waiting in line, shout out to the dude who went to all 3 nights of the Red Rocks King Gizzard performance that I talked to for, like, 20 minutes. And the opener performed. They were really good. I really liked them. They really set the tone. However, I much preferred Horse Girl from their other tour. When we got to the front of the stage, though, we noticed that there was no barricade, which was interesting. Like, you know, people were genuinely like, people are going to die. But after the opener, there was a weird 45 minutes between opener and setup, which everyone thought, oh, there has to be something wrong. But apparently it was planned, but that's still just weird, right? It's a weird amount of time. And then it was finally time for Black Midi to come on, and it's Black Midi. Black Midi technically marvels you, and they marvel you in how they can be both technically sound yet also crazily entertaining. Their music is fast and heavily improvisational, however it may say in their biography. Gone from the last tour is Cameron's acoustic guitar and also Shank's sort of like mega keyboard setup with a vocoder, which is now gone, sadly. Shank is almost now permanently on bass, and I personally really like that. It gives him more movement, and it also allows Cameron to play second guitar, which for some songs is very mandatory. I don't understand why the acoustic guitar is gone, but hey, it's a choice. There I am in the mosh pit. It is intense mosh pit. It was really crazy. I didn't see Alex the entire show, so sad. In line, a lot of people were saying how disappointing it was, the fact that they're not touring with like improvisational set lists, and instead they are sticking to a strict set list. However, I personally believe that this is a good choice for the band. You see Black Midi for the technical skill. I don't really think you see him for the crazy fun, like King Gizzard or other jam bands. So I feel like a strict set list allows for more improvement on songs. I mean, they've been playing some of these songs for 20 shows before this. But the set overall, song for song, was perfect. They performed everything amazing. It was genuinely one of the best live performances I have ever seen in my life. They did a cover of Taxman. It was awesome. Best part, by far, is Morgan's drumming. Oh my God. His drumming is just hypnotizing. It's hypnotizing to watch. You watch it and you're just floating along to just how senselessly easy and how just so effortlessly he plays those drums. And man, unlike Pittsburgh, and again, I don't mean to insult their performance in Pittsburgh, he was putting his heart into this performance, and I really don't know why. He was sweating like a madman. He would take 3 towels and put them all on his face, and he would still be sweating. He drank so many waters. And however I did not get a stick this time, it was still awesome. Awesome to see him again. So, why is it last on this list? To start, Cleveland. It was just bad. There's no other word to use except that it was just a bad experience getting to Cleveland. Then again, I did, maybe lack in just going to a city and saying, oh, I'll find stuff to do. But, again, personal experience, like I said. But the one thing I could say is not a personal experience is the crowd. Yeah, I'm sorry. If I can compliment the crowd, is that Black Midi didn't go to Pittsburgh this year. And they didn't really go many Midwestern places, right? So you had a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, from kind of different walks of this, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati area coming to this show. So it was packed. It was one of the only sold-out shows of the tour. And I also recognized the people from King Gizzard. That's it, though. That's all I have to say for good things. Jesus Christ. Learn how to freaking mosh. It's not that hard, okay? It's not that hard. You just have to be safe. Stop punching people when they're on the ground. Stop pushing people over with the intent of knocking them on the ground and kicking out their legs. Stop assaulting women. When someone is in pain, stop the show. Don't stop the show. Stop attacking them. Help them. It's not that hard. It's really not. Oh my God, the smell is just as bad as they say it is. Like, I know you've seen the jokes online of like, LMAO, Black Midi Pit, bring deodorant. It really is bad. It really is as bad as you think it is. And it's just unfunny also. The amount of people that'll just cut you in line for merch, or the amount of people that'll just go in front of you and push you over to get closer to the stage in order to get in front of the barricadeless mosh pit is just insane. Oh, and people just so unfunny. They're so unfunny. Oh my gosh, look at me. I'm pulling out a 3DS to film the Black Midi show. Look at me. I'm watching Family Guy funny moments while the show is like setting up. That was actually kind of funny. But still, Alex, whom I mentioned was at the show, has gone to dozens of metal shows. She's been in the front of Barricade. She's been in Walls of Death. She has been in the pits of metal hell. And 2 songs into this, she had to step to the side because she said it was too dangerous. And because there was no barricade, several times people were almost just thrown over the stage, which was just hilarious. Oh, and stop yelling weird things at Greep. They can't control that. That's what everyone says. The band can't control the fans. However, they are not solely responsible. I find Greep's personality to be insufferable. And in my experience, and I haven't gone to a lot of shows, or at least the festivals, but when a performer is mad or angry, it is almost impossible for that not to translate to the audience. So when Greep is on this tour and he's thinking things like this and, just hating life in general while on tour and thinking about never coming back to the States, it translates just to the audience. And he complains, like, why are you guys moshing to slow music? When he does stuff like, I don't know, you took your sax player, your dedicated keyboard setup, and your bass player, and instead had this more movement-oriented and more rock-oriented setup. And now you wonder why people treat your shows more like rock shows and less like weird jazz performances that you want to be. Do you want people to just stand there and listen to your music? Because you can do that. Rent out theaters, like legit theaters with seats. But instead you get these places where there's like a giant mosh pit to form. And you're just like, man, I don't get it. I wonder why people are killing each other in the mosh pit. But despite everything I just said, the show was a 10 out of 10. But again, it ranks this low because it's like the only show that I can say something negative for. This may be my longest speaking about a show because it's the only thing there's anything negative for. Highlights were Taxman cover, Welcome to Hell, Near Detroit, Michigan, and Morgan. Morgan was a highlight. I loved Morgan. Love you, Morgan. Mwah. Who? Old Men? The Old Men? The Old Temptations, the Vortops? Above Black Midi? So I'm not going to like compare like, oh, well, you put this guy above this guy, so yada, 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 because I would do that the whole video. I may just compare occasionally why every show is better than Black Midi. Yeah, no. The Temptations, the Four Tops, old man band. I always joke that I would never go see a Metallica show because they're like past their prime. But, man, did the Temptations, the Four Tops change that. So my dad works at a camp, and I went up to go just like visit the camp and just like, you know, kind of take advantage of him being in Michigan and a nice place. And he was like, hey, the Temptations and the Four Tops are playing right now. And I was like, who are they? And they're like, oh, these big band in the 60s. So, and they were like, you want a free ticket? I got a free ticket. I went. I saw it. I'm counting it as a show. 80-plus years old. New members. Old members. Full band. Crowd was just geriatric. If the wind blew wrong, the entire like stadium was just going to be filled with dust. And it was fantastic. It was amazing. And it's just, wow. I was completely blown away. I think really what surprised me was less of the music, although the instrumentals were gorgeous and the vocals were something, was the fact that these men are 80 plus and they're shamovin', dude. They're shamovin'. It really just felt cool to go to a show with this many old people that wasn't like the orchestra. It really felt like, you know, you're going to this like back in time with just older people. I didn't know really many of the songs, but I enjoyed the show. I really did. I really enjoyed seeing them move. I really enjoyed them getting really into it, and the crowd energy was there. Yeah, again, it's interesting because, you know, anytime you give something a low score, you always ask, what could there be more of, right? But you're going to notice a lot on this list until we get up to the upper high ones. A lot of it's like, they probably did their best job, but I'm just not familiar with them, so I don't know if they could have done better. But what I can confidently say is that they killed it with some of them being 80 plus years old. So, yeah, Temptations, Four Tops, great show. So, me, my friend, Brandon Marshall, gonna see that name a lot on this. We had tickets to nights 2 and 3, King Gizzard in Chicago, driving from Pittsburgh. We were going to drive over on night 1 since Brandon had stuff to do in the morning. And we didn't plan to go to night 1 because we didn't have tickets. But we were like, hey, maybe we'll get tickets on the way there. And we did, right? And you see, their set list always said that they started at like 9. They started at 8. The Salt Shed has a low curfew. So I'm not going to get into this. I'll wait till night 2. So I'll just say what the story was that we bought tickets and we were kind of upset because we spent some money on these tickets. And then we rushed in and they didn't even scan our tickets. Salt Shed. And then we only got to see about 3/4 of a set list, sadly. But it was King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. If you don't know, I love King Gizzard. I love King Gizzard so much. I love them so much. It is an addiction. It is an addiction. It really is an addiction. It really is bad. It is the definition of music can be an addiction. It is so sad. It really is just tragic. But yeah, the night 1 mosh pit was just so much just like going back and forth in the pit. Just a real flowy pit. Seeing Stu McKenzie was just amazing and the whole gang. But again, I'll get to that. So even though I only saw an hour of them, this probably is like number 2 on the list. But I just feel guilty putting it like above like bands with actual set lists that I like saw fully. So it's down here for pity, but I enjoyed it more than obviously The Temptations. But again, we were worried. We were like, oh no, we missed half the set. What did we miss? I actually looked at it, and I had only like 2 songs I really wish I would have saw, so thank God. I already saw Gaia, so I'm lucky there. But we got there. They played Satan Speeds Up, Hot Water, and then The River. Oh my God. The River. The River. What a performance of The River. Jesus Christ. It was like 30 minutes. The mosh pit was just flowing, and everyone was into it. And then Magma, and it was just a great set. It was just a great set, great show, great performance. Everyone had fun. Highlights were The River, Magma, everything that I saw, honestly. So again, we'll go to the next one. Full transparency, no idea who Steve Lacy is at all. Before, I was going to do a bit where I was going to like go to the show and just stand there with a straight face and only sing I Bite My Tongue, It's a Bad Habit, because that's the only lyric I know. However, I like James Blake. I don't listen to a lot of James Blake. I only know, like, he has that one song on like the Spider-Verse soundtrack and stuff, so whoop-de-doo. Brandon told me and my friend Eli to go to Columbus, Ohio to go see Steve Lacy and James Blake. And wow, really was one great performance. Now, this was back in Columbus, Ohio. Now, this was before Black Midi, so I didn't really have, like, bad context for Ohio yet. But due to rain, which never even happened, the show was pushed forward, which I never even thought was possible. So we missed the 2 other openers of the Reset Festival, but, we did get to see James Blake and Steve Lacy, so how were they? James Blake gave a really diverse and brash and weird set, and he played a song from the Spider-Verse soundtrack. Hey, people there vibed with it, and Brandon himself said it was kind of a weak set, but I was just blown away by how talented he was, and I just generally really liked it. Plus, also, he wore a jumpsuit. Oh, I forgot to mention, we all wore jumpsuits to this because we're weird. We also recognized someone from our home school district we haven't seen in, like, years, and this other lady randomly came up to us and started making 21 Pilots jokes, so great concert experience, I'm just saying. We didn't mosh, though. We just sat in the back and enjoyed the talented musicianship. So again, full transfer. Oh crap, I'm like burning. I'm sitting out here in the sun recording this, so this is all for you though. I listened to Gemini Night Rights once, and again I know the one song, and that's it. But he was Steve Lacy, very talented performer, really interesting. I loved watching him, and his setlist was diverse. It wasn't all just Gemini Rights, although he did play every song from Gemini Rights. It was really just a great vibe, and people were really into it. It was awesome seeing people really into it, and Brandon was really into it, and Eli was really into it. So at the start of the show, Steve Lacy looks into the crowd, and he sees a guy, and he says, "Yo, Steve Lacy's in the crowd." There's a guy who looked exactly like Steve Lacy. I think he referenced it one other time during the show between his like very vibey and awesome songs. But then he performs Bad Habit. Big expectations. I'm sure Steve Lacy doesn't like the song. I'm sure it's the only song people know of his. And he gets like 2 verses in and he says, "Wait a second, stop it. I want fake Steve Lacy to sing this song."
Wait, can we pause it? I kind of want Steve Lacy to sing this song.
And they bring this random dude that half looks like Steve Lacy up on stage to perform Bad Habit. And I don't know about you, but with my social anxiety, if Ed Sheeran looked at me and was like, "Yo, it's Ed Sheeran in the crowd. Bring Ed Sheeran up here. Have him perform Bad Habits," I would probably be a little nervous, especially because I don't know how to sing. This guy did not know how to sing at all, but he owned it. He grabbed that mic, and it was his stage, dude. It was not Steve Lacy's stage. That was his stage that night. It was honestly an inspiration. And again, he just was like, just the worst singer ever. Ooh. It's exactly what it sounded like, as bad as my singing. I know you wanna be what you do, what you do. He got off stage and Steve Lacy got him a free t-shirt and he high-fived Steve Lacy. And Steve Lacy didn't have to sing Bad Habit, so who really won in the end here? But yeah, great show. Too bad I don't know any of their songs. That's why it's so low. Sorry. Okay, bye. 19, just got a fake ID and a nose ring. Those kind of girls tell. Oh, the Backseat Lovers. So, Brittany, whose kitchen I once destroyed, like horribly.
Edward, speak to me. Edward, please.
Apparently she wins these like free tickets to all these shows all the time, and she just gives them to people. And she gave these tickets to Eli. Eli was like, hey, I got Backseat Lovers tickets. Who likes Backseat Lovers? Kylan. And Kylan had plans to go to Backseat Lovers because he loves them, right? So suddenly, Eli and Kylan were going to this show. Eli says this to me. He says, hey, you should go to this show. It's going to be fun. And I love Kylan. I love Eli. I love doing things with both of them. So I said, why not? A way to get a ticket because I'm kind of poor and tickets are like $60. I guess we'll see. And then suddenly, Kylan, who is a diehard fan of this band, says, I can't go. And they're like, okay. Now it's just going to be me and Eli at the show. So we planned about it. We planned about jamming earlier in the morning. And we booked the date for jamming, and it was before the concert. So I text him the day before the show, and I say, hey, you excited for jamming tomorrow before the concert? And he's like, what? And I said, yeah, tomorrow. And he's like, I thought you said we'd do it before the concert. And I'm like, yeah, the concert's tomorrow. And he's like, oh, crap. I thought it was 2 days from now. I called off 2 days from now, and I have work. So suddenly I have 2 tickets now, right? And 3 tickets, actually. But I couldn't find another person. So I just took my friend Morgan, who also half knows the band. And then we went to the show. So we both don't know who Backseat Lovers are, but we think we'll like them. So from Morgan's perspective, she got tickets from someone who didn't know the band, but got tickets, who got someone who didn't really know the band, but kind of knew them, who got tickets from someone who won the tickets, which is hilarious. It led to this amazing image when I got the will call at the box office. I'm getting tired. This is exhausting. Oh, God, I'm like only halfway through the set list at all. There was a slightly Pittsburgh local band that opened. That was cool. And outside Stage AE, which was my first time being at this venue. Oh, my God, I didn't talk about the other venues. Columbus was cool. Sorry. Outdoor Stage AE was beautiful, if anything, a little bit weirdly segmented. Like, their grass section was, like, very obviously artificial. I thought no one else knew who this band was. I didn't realize how big they were. So when it was filled, I was like, who are you people? Where did you come from? Where are you? Who are you? Why are you? So now I expected the band's sound to be this like weird, like, you know, pop sort of thing, like Harry Styles, but they were abstract. It was a very weird and abstract performance. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it. The issue is I didn't know any of the songs. So I'm over here like, man, this song is beautiful. It's sad this is the first time I'm hearing it once, so I can't sing along. There were weird shoegazy like passages of just noise. And these, like, basic, like, 20-year-olds that are just like, oh, yeah, my other favorite artists are Taylor Swift and, like, Ed Sheeran are just, like, dancing to these, like, abstract, like, walls of noise. I'm like, what is happening in the world right now? But I loved it. I loved it. It was genuinely one of my favorite concerts I've been to. Again, I just didn't know the show at all. But yeah, I danced with a lot of people. It was cool. It was cool just sitting there or just standing there and just like flowing back and forth these noisy passages. Again, it's just I wish I knew them. Highlights were Sinking Ship, and also my favorite part was whenever he said, this song's called Viciously Lonely, I yelled out, oh my God, they wrote a song about me! Shout out to Gianna, who was running one of the stands that I met. Shout out to Cheyenne Matodik, who was just there. Unshout out to Miriam, who was like, yeah, I'm in this VIP booth, and we're like, hey, can we get there? And you're like, no, it's my friends, and like I'm kind of invited, so it'd be weird to invite. Yo, you gotta be like, hey, you're my homie, I'm going to sneak you in somehow. Even though I have no connections, I'm going to sneak you in. If someone came up to me and was like, hey, can you sneak me up to the front? And I have no connections, I would still try. So shame on you for not breaking rules. Friday Pilots Club. There were like 40 people at the show. Maximum. So before I heavy jammed with Eli and Kylan, and then my friend Casey, who loves this band, is the whole reason I'm at the show is because he loves this band, showed up after not wanting to drive in Pittsburgh, but he did. Me, Eli, and Kylan were actually sitting on the ground having like a pretty deep conversation, and Casey drives up, and all of his windows are closed, but he had just got through Pittsburgh traffic, and we're like, hey, there's Casey, and we turn over, and we hear very loud, even though all his windows are closed, everything's closed, we just hear, I've got to kill myself. We got together, we got some delicious pizza, some delicious, Carrick pizza. Me, Kylan, and Casey got all in a big van, and we drove to Stage AE, and it was at the cafe, which I'd never been to, which I didn't even know existed, but cool venue nonetheless. There were 40 people there maximum. We actually saw Gianna at Friday Pies Club, who we didn't think noticed us, but I found out months later she did. This is also like the first concert I went to. I feel like I should have mentioned that. Yeah, I was like broke. No, I had tons of money. I was optimistic. I was excited. I was excited to only go to 5 concerts this summer. Little did I know. But yeah, we stood very close to the stage. There were 2 openers. The Caleb one guy, I forget his name. He was cool. Pittsburgh local. Loved him. Chloe Zoe. Oh, Zoe Co, man. I'm just gonna post this image that Kylan sent to the group chat once. I am exposing you right now, man. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, dude. What a great performance from both of them, really. Then Friday Pilots Club took the stage. There was no moshing. It was kind of just like 40 people standing there looking at the stage and hearing the hits they wanted to perform. Now I've listened to a lot of them, so I've been able to enjoy them, but I just kind of sat there vibing to these like really pop hits that are yet to be hits at all, just really like glamorous stuff. Caleb, the lead guy, was an amazing performer. I loved him. Everyone else there was great. I really liked the guitarist because we both have the syndrome of confused guitar face. But man, when they played Life Support Supernova, most embarrassing moment of my life, but also the best moment of my life. But the only song that me, Casey, and Kylan knew was Miss Supernova Life Support. Those are both of our songs that we all knew together. We both knew the lyrics by heart, right? So, you see, normally at a show, if it's a big people like that and you're like, oh my God, it's my song. You sing it, right? And then no one notices because it's a bunch of other people's songs. There's only 40, and these relatively new and abstract songs, some of them people aren't into it. And, we are 3 grown men singing our absolute guts out to these pop hits. And several times the performers looked at us like, oh my gosh, these guys are into these songs. I also called the set list twice. I called that they were going to wear the Pirates shirt that they had in the poster, and I also called that they were going to do In the End of It and For the Wicked at the end. So amazing. I am amazing. I was just like, but the set list was great. Experience was great. Nice people. Everything was fantastic. Again, why so low? Musicianship. It really is pop hits. I love them, but they're not really even my vibe that much, if that makes any sense at all. I would totally see them again, though. I don't think it'll ever be that small again. Shout out, whenever we were waiting in line and we made Casey sniff a random piece of plastic because we told him it smells like bananas, and we tricked him. Gullible dude. But I shook hands with the man himself, Caleb, when we got a set list, and then we got the set list signed. It was so funny, too, because a lot of people weren't really used to concert etiquette there, so they were just left immediately. I went up, I was like, Caleb, set list, please. And then he gave it to me, and I shook his hand. I was like, you are awesome. And he was like, you are awesome, too, man. And I was like, great. Not a lot of moshing, but jumping around and stuff. It was just a really, really in the moment and chill dude. Musicianship, used a lot of tracks. Not really my vibe, even though, they had to. They really had to. Oh, and Kylan got this other girl's number, apparently. He's just slays that. Mdou Moctar, Nigerian guitarist. I've seen him once before. This one I saw with my boy Eli and Brandon again, the dynamic the dynamic trio. I owed Brandon because I once ghosted him for the second time that we came to Pittsburgh. I'm still sorry, Brandon. I still think of that every night. Anyway, this show, we met up, and we got this really expensive but kind of mid but also kind of good food in Lawrenceville. And me and Brandon absolutely wiped the floor with Luke and Eli and Sandbag. Absolutely destroyed them. Also, me and Eli jammed the morning before, which is kind of a tradition now, I guess, before shows for me because it's fun. Get those ears all, ready to die. Eli also played trumpet in the car.
This one is from Folk Song Suite, I think.
But again, the whole big thing about this show was me and another person were about to see an artist twice. Which, again, I've seen a few artists twice, but I've never seen an artist twice with the same person. So it was a lot of like, wow, we're going to have stuff to talk about. See, previously, I'll explain later, but I went to a show at Thunderbird Music Cafe and Hall. And I noticed this really funny sign. So I kept telling them, like, hey, guys, they're going to have diet water in there. And they were like, what's that? And they were like, Dom, we're going to kill you. What is in the diet water? And we get there, and there's just a sign that just says diet water in front of a water container and nothing else. And they're like, oh, my God, it's real. What are you talking about? What is this? And they drank it, and it was just water. And they're like, what is this? And he was Mdou Moctar. It wasn't even a set list. He just was so linked up with his other performers. It was just crazy. And Eli loved it. I loved it. It was fantastic. This moment happened. Being in front of him was just, you're just seeing this like legendary force in nature in front of you. You're just seeing this spectacular, life-changing, greatest guitarist alive directly in front of you, and you're just blown away. You're enthralled. Eli and Brandon have this issue where they say like, oh, well, it all sounds the same. It's all in like the 6/4 time, and then they just like solos. And I'm like, that's the point. I'm there for Souleymane and Mdou. The bassist is cool. And the rhythm guitarist is cool. I love them. Not saying what they do is bad, but really I'm there to see Mdou shred, and I'm there to see Souleymane do some cool drum stuff and play like a drum machine. I hope he recognized this. I don't think he did, but, hopefully he did. Hopefully. We'll go see him a third time. Hopefully. Maybe. If this video gets 10 likes, me and Eli will go see Mdou and Brandon. I guess Brandon for a second time and me and Eli for a third time. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic show. Oh, and afterwards we it was like pouring rain, and we parked like 2 miles away, so it was fun.
The iPhone 14, waterproof plus.
A show that I saw before Mdou Moctar was Altin Gun, a Turkish band. This is going to be the shortest by far. I went with Morgan. It was an easy drive, easy ride. We got this coffee that Morgan called the worst coffee she ever had in her entire life. We played an arcade machine that looked like Rush. And best opener, I think possibly of all the shows that I saw. Roger, this cool like samba sort of deal. But truthfully, the hidden gem was Altin Gun. Now, why are they this high? I couldn't identify a song. I couldn't identify really anything. But man, the crowd. Every Turkish person in Pittsburgh was there. I expected it to be like nerds like me who know this band. That, let's be honest here, I know most of these bands because they just sound a little bit like King Gizzard. But they were stellar. They were awesome. And every single Turkish person there was jamming. They knew every song that they covered. They knew everything. There was a man in front of us who obviously brought his son who didn't want to be there, who was like, look, it's the song from something. He had a record. He got the record signed. He was awesome. He was an awesome dude. I hope you're doing well if you're watching this video. But they nail everything. They have a great sound. All their songs are fantastic. I couldn't name a single one. They played the one hit that I really love. And again, it's weird putting them this high because it was just fantastic. I mean, of all these bands that I say like, oh, well, I didn't know any of the lyrics, so I couldn't sing along. I wouldn't be able to sing along anyway. So the fact that I didn't even know the songs and I was just able to experience them for the first time was just, I really like them. I hope they come back to Pittsburgh again. The lead singer, she is fantastic. Not really much happened that day. I just kind of drove down there and drove back and had a good, decent meal. But what did happen is I saw a 10 out of 10 performance from a 10 out of 10 band. They also opened in Pittsburgh. That was their first of their tour. So see Altin Gun when they come around. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard Night 2. So we stayed with my uncle in Chicago, and it was great. Love my uncle. I know I've sent you this video, so I cannot express enough how much so thankful for that show, for allowing us to stay there. Although your cat was terrifying, it really was scary. I can't explain it, how you would turn around and this silent little, like, bright-eyed cat would just be staring at you like a... And then it would just, you'd be like, how are you? And it'd be like... It'd be like, great. Anyway, we're going to get going. One thing you'll know when you travel with Brandon Marshall is you're going to eat like a king. Brandon Marshall has this way of finding exactly where the greatest restaurant is wherever you're at. We had this pizza place that I'm going to put the name of here just because I forget, but it was the greatest Chicago pizza I've ever had. It was the greatest pizza. I had a lot of good pizza this summer, but it was the greatest pizza ever. And then we saw the Bean, which was cool. But that's enough about the actual experience of being in Chicago for the first time for this King Gizzard show. I had bought tickets for this King Gizzard show months in advance. I think 6 months in advance is how long we were waiting for this show to happen. And this was the first show. It wasn't like I'm showing up late. This was the hype. This is what I've been waiting for. So did they deliver? So Brandon Marshall wakes up. Night 2. Okay. Night 2. Well, night 1, I guess, is first night. First morning. And he wakes up and he says, they're going to open with Rattlesnake. And I'm like, what is your inclination with this? And he says, they're going to open with Rattlesnake. I'm going to go to your proof. And he's like, they're going to open with Rattlesnake. And I'm like, okay. And throughout the day, he tells me that. He's like, they're opening with Rattlesnake. So we're standing there. And our plan is we're going to stand in the back of the mosh pit, appreciate the musicianship, and run up mid-show whenever hopefully it starts getting heavy. So they come out. Joey's dressed like a Bud Light.
Hey, I'm dressed like a Bud Light can. Thoughts?
So they pick up the microtonal guitars, and I'm like, could be Rattlesnake. It's probably not. Jason screws up, and he accidentally puts a picture of a rattlesnake on the projector. So I look at Brandon and jump. I'm like, dude, it's Rattle! And then it's just... down, 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 down. And I just run forward and I go like this motion to Brandon. And we run directly forward into an opening. And the mosh pit just encircles us. And we're just suddenly in the middle of this chaos. And we are just moshing, killing each other in beautiful weather. It was a little bit cloudy, but, nice weather overall. Wow, we are all screaming, all of us, full-grown adults, pays their taxes, all screaming, rattle, rattle, rattle. So if that's not what I should be doing at this age, what should I be doing, okay? You may have a house. You may have a nice car. I am 20, almost. I'm 19. I should probably actually keep up my youth while I can. Screaming, rattle, rattle, rattle. I don't want to break down the whole set list. So this set list to me, spectacular. But I can understand why someone who was a non-fan, it was kind of weak. Hate Dancin', I think, is one of their worst songs. However, I love AstroTurf as a record song. I think it's kind of weak live. Shanghai, Wah Wah, Road Train, Inner Cell Trilogy. That's just something I've wanted to hear my entire life. But being in the pit and being surrounded by all these people that, we were able to experience the city, it really felt like I was becoming a Chicagoan, Like I was just fully immersed in the city. It was really felt like a residency. they closed with Am I in Heaven, which I really loved. Jumped back in the pit and was with all these people. I stayed mostly up front for the show just to appreciate them playing and stuff. But then after the show, my shoes got untied, and these random two gentlemen, shout out to the Banana Boys for tying my shoes. I hope you guys had a great time. You guys are some of the best people I met on this tour. Long story short, though, apparently you bumped into Brandon and made him upset. So apologize now. Like you were like, hey, I want to get in front. And he was like, no, I'm in front. And you were like, let me in front. So apologize right now. Hope you guys had fun. Yeah. Shout out Uncle Wally. Shout out Chicago for being a walkable city. Shout out for the lady at the Nike store that talked to Brandon and gave us a place to see even though we didn't go see it. In general, great city, great show. I saw Soccer Mommy once before, and funny story, it was the worst show I've ever been to, but we'll get to that. When she announced her tour, I saw it was a free show, and I was like, oh, there's probably a catch to that, right? It's probably a festival or something. I realized it was just her, and I realized it was Heartwood Acres, which I don't want to dox myself, but that's like 10 minutes from my house. 10 minutes free show to see my like third most listened to artist on Spotify. I gotta go. I'm gonna make this like the least money spent on a tour ever, so I took my little sister, okay? But it was cool because it was just able to sit and vibe and just listen to this amazing musician. So I saw Soccer Mommy once before, and she was all right, I guess. So like I said, negativity with the audience. With the Pittsburgh show, and I don't want to get too much into it because this wasn't the show, Soccer Mommy obviously cares a lot about tone. It's very obvious. Shoegaze artists, they typically do. But it's obvious that she cares a lot. And like I said, negativity through an audience, they can feel it. And when we saw her at Mr. Small, she was very obviously upset with her monitor system or with just how it's being out to the audience. So for the first 5 songs of Mr. Smalls, she just didn't talk to the audience. And then when she did, she was really pissed off. I was really not excited to see her again, really, because I was like, I don't know if she can change from that. After the opener, which was great, he threw his guitar. I'm probably going to be listening to them. Disc, shout out Disc. She performed, and she was happy. Oh my gosh, Soccer Mommy was actually excited to perform for us. What in the universe? Great decision to open with Bones with you. Circled the Drain. Great performance. I do think Bones was maybe a little bit longer, that it could have cut it short. Darkness Forever, my favorite song by Soccer Mommy, except for Following Eyes. I love Following Eyes. It just didn't have the impact as it does on the vinyl. Shotgun also always does feel a little bit clinky, but even then, all the songs I remember seeing in Mr. Smalls were a little bit clunky, but they all just felt more refined. They felt better. The mix felt better, and it was a free show. Soccer Mommy still definitely is a jerk. You could definitely still tell that that's not gone completely from her because during her performance, at some point, she went to take a guitar and set it down on a stand. And you could tell that was supposed to be one of the stagehands jobs, and it fell. And she looked at him like, you have seconds to live. And it was really funny, honestly. It was sad because people were like, it was a guitar, okay, but she was like, whispered something in his ear like, you're going to die tomorrow. So yeah, again, I know it's hard to say, but we got like snacks, we got lawn chairs, we went out and we got this very easily in front of the show view. There was a mosh pit in front of us so we could see over the mosh pit, and we just sat and heard these beautiful shoegaze ballads sang from one of my favorite artists. We recorded on this cool little neat camcorder. I know her songs. I know how to sing all of her songs. I love her songs. So that definitely impacts it for me, is that the fact she gave out a 10 out of 10 performance, and I know her songs. So it's like, again, great performance. I loved it. And your dog at the end was great. What did you think of Soccer Mommy's performance last week?
It was good.
Do you have any hits or favorite things that she did?
My favorite thing that the guy before her did is when he tossed his guitar.
What about the part where soccer mommy like went to go set her guitar on the stand and then just like
Yeah.
it just like
10 seconds to live.
exactly. All right, thank you.
He's already dead.
He probably is dead. He probably is dead. Alrighty, thank you.
Yeah, we came to blow your system. You know what I'm saying? You bragging about how you had it all down, but what's up now when your shit is
Death grips. Woo! They're real, dude. They're real. MC Ride is a real human being. So despite me being a white male, and in my early 20s and online and likes music, this is a shocker because Brandon, as you knows, I don't like listen to a lot of that Death Grips. I've listened to all their albums like once, but like I don't know like all their songs by heart. I know. I was still excited. It didn't help in this amazing show the fact that I didn't have to drive, which I don't really like driving in the city. It's not bad for me, but I didn't have to drive in the city, which made it amazing. And the fact that we had my favorite restaurant ever before going to the city, like ever. I love Bowser's. I love Bowser's so much. Bowser's, shout out Bowser's in Monaco for making the best French fries on earth. Like, how do you people do it? So when we got there and we waited line and we got there just 30 minutes before and we missed the opener. I'm joking. Death Grips has no opener. They only just play unreleased music and then they come out, they stand there for a few seconds, and then they have one light, which is just one red light, a few red lasers, and they just nonstop perform their songs for like an hour and 15 minutes. And that's an awesome strategy. And I went with Brandon and another kid named Felix, who's a cool dude. Love Felix. Who hadn't really been to a concert before. We've been to a stadium concert before. This was the first mosh pit. And the show starts, well, we came to play your system. And, we're standing in the back. And Brandon and Felix are like, hey, we're actually not going to be up there that much, I'm like, okay. The mosh pit starts, and the mosh pit just looks so enticing. I turn to Felix, do this, shake his hand, and I just jump in and immediately get destroyed. Also, haha, look at us. We're like, Death Grips, haha, haha. But this is probably their last tour. Pretty strictly. And my only evidence for that is look at the set list, man. This is a greatest hits. This is a last tour type set list. And MC Ride, even though he was 40, brought the thunder. Really did. I love the use of the tracks. I love the guitar, which was like synced up with stuff. I loved MC Ride's vocals again, despite being so older. I saw Fantano's review and how he said he felt as if they went harder or during the No Love songs. No, I just think they went hard the entire show. Are you kidding me, dude? Like Ride was in it except for Hacker. That was my one complaint, is I feel like he could have been more in it for Hacker. One of the best parts of the show, by far, was the mosh pit. Black Midi, take notes. This mosh pit was nuts. It was nuts. People were flying, people were crowd surfing, and it was just, mosh pits would just start, pow, 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 pow. You'd just be standing somewhere and a mosh pit would just start, and then people would like fight each other, and then it would just like end, and then you'd go back into this ball of just chaos, and it would start over here, and it would start over here. Apparently, Brandon and Felix had some girl just pass out behind them out of no water, which, PSA, why do you go to shows without drinking water? What do you think's going to happen? So I'm in this mosh pit, right? Greatest mosh pit ever. I'm enjoying it because it's safe. It's a safe mosh pit. People know how to mosh. They're not killing you. And people smell nice. The rumors aren't true. They've matured a little bit. Only a tiny bit, though. They're still Death Grips fans. Here's my one story is I'm sitting there. And around like this angle from me, I see this body. They're barrel rolling. He's just rolling across the crowd. And immediately, remember I told you how mosh pits would just start and stop? Directly in front of me, an opening appears, right? Now, I'm not behind him, so I can't even close the opening. It's happening to the side. He's getting like thrown to the side and stuff. Like his hand hits me on the head and he falls smack on the cement. Like hard on the cement. His head, wow. Nice job, motorcycle. Mac, head, hard on the back of the pavement as hard as I see like these part of his body hit first. And like a single light flashes from someone's phone. I just see that happen. I see his knees go straight to his skull as it happens. And he just kind of falls over. And everyone's like, is this dude dead? Like typically when that happens as an opening, like everyone goes up and helps him up. And this dude's dead, right? He has to be dead. But some guy helps him up, right? And he turns around. And we're like, we have to take this dude to the hospital. And he looks at me. And it's Brandon Marshall. What? Imagine going through that experience, standing up, and the first thing you see is your friend just directly in front of your face with your blurry vision. I go to him and I tell him, are you all right? And he looks at me and says, get me back up there. I feel like that should describe how amazing the show was. Musicianship was there. Audience was there. Everyone there was a diehard fan. Everyone there was cool goths. We had someone there going to their first real show ever, which, I mean, what more can you ask for? It was just stellar. top of their game, one of the best rap groups out there. And again, it felt like a very important show, which I feel as if is why it's high. It's number 2 on my list, is that it was a very important show to go to. Oh my God. They're doing laps or some crap? Man, I've seen footage. That was a crowd I'll never experience again in my life. I'll never experience it again in my life. It really was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And there'll be no other band like Death Grips ever.
Isn't this the place for you? Here in the garden we're safe.
We wake up. Night 2 was tiring. Moshed the entire time. And we wake up. It's a rainy day in Chicago. It's a bad rainy day in Chicago. Wake up, see the cat, thank Uncle Wally. Probably the best part of the day. Head out. And we get on the road. Brandon's like, let's go to Chinatown. I'm like, okay. Go to Chinatown. And we get on the highway, and it's busy, which I don't like. Someone did see us and smile and like wave because he honked at us, and they're like, "Yo, it's the guys from." I think they held up a sign that said "You're cute," so maybe it was for one of us, or maybe it was for the fact that it said that we had a sticker on the back of our car that said "King Giz," like we're Grateful Dead. But then we go to park. There's no parking in Chinatown. I suck at parking, and Brandon's mad at me because I suck at parking. We go to get something. It's raining. Awful. We have to get ponchos. So we go to ask someone, we're like, hey, where should we eat? And they're like, hey, you should go here. And it's the most mid. It was okay. It was an okay restaurant. I would not call it mid, but it was, also kind of overpriced. And then we get back in the car, and then we got this very mid coffee. And then I also suck at parking. Me and Brandon had a few, not arguments, but just disagreements about parking and other things. My goal was night 3, I was going to wait in line to get a poster, right? And we show up a little bit late. Brandon's napping in the car, but I wait in line, and it's pouring down rain. Absolutely pouring down rain. And we're like, is this show going to get canceled? Will we miss what we've been waiting for months? And more importantly, I'm so behind in line, I'm not going to get a poster. Shout out to the guy that I saw online that kept me through it, who also drank 4 beers. I don't know how you survived that night. Peace, dude. The other people we talked to, I think that dude was from Chicago. Cool dude. He also saw the original marathon shows. Brandon took a nap, and I stood there in the pouring rain in my poncho. Here's a photo of what it looked like afterwards, and I got a poster. And the Salt Shed tweets out, no matter what, we are not canceling the show tonight. Rain or shine, heck yeah. So we get inside, and we get some themed ponchos, and we check out the entire vending booth place they have there, and they have some good food, they have some good everything. It's great. We get these delicious poutine. And through this journey that we have went on, we have driven from Pittsburgh. We've driven hundreds of miles. We have gone through all of this treacherous rain, weather, emotion or turmoil, and I've stayed with another human being for 3 days, which is just a lot to ask of anything. And through all of the rain, through all of the struggle, through everything that we have been through just our lives, this trip and everything, the question was still there. Will they deliver? And did they? Did they deliver?
This is Mdou Moctar! Winds come crash with frost, deadly thunder over the ground.
Okay. Let's do this, okay? It's pouring rain. Rain is pouring down. You can barely hear them over the sound of the rain. With the river and everything coming through. Haha, the river. And they say, we're going to start heavy. Woo! This song's called Gila Monster. Woo! And you just are just throwing it. It's just probably what it feels like to be inside a washing machine. You're just turning around and you're wet. You're just dying. Gila Monster. Straight to Convert. Straight to Planet B. Straight to Planet Mars for the Rich. Greatest performances I've heard of those songs. And that's definitely biased with the fact that I was there, but they were awesome. I loved it. It was fantastic. Plastic Boogie. Debut. Great song. Hot Water into Hypertension. At that point, I forget when, but Joey stands out and he says, this one's got to be one for the ages, boys. And everyone is just like, man, they have really somehow, their third time, they didn't do repeats from the last Chicago show. They still have a set list in here that is legendary. Legendary set list. Magenta Mountain, this thing, which I never heard live, is quite possibly the best song I heard this year live. Fantastic. Magenta Mountain, although Brandon didn't really like it, amazing, no matter what people say. Change live debut, dude. Change live debut. Change live debut. The Garden Goblin sneaked in at the last second. I'm not even lying. I cried. I cried during the Garden Goblin. I haven't even told Brandon this yet. I cried. Not to get too much into this, but, just felt lost. Coming out of college and, the Garden Goblin, brought that to me, And then, of course, the Dripping Tap closer. I'm just going to play the clips. And, of course, Brandon Marshall doing an actual successful crowd surf. The Salt Shed was an amazing venue. They closed it, said their goodbyes, and I said goodbye. I met our Echo, which was amazing. It was so nice to meet Echo. I didn't get to meet Mystery Jack, but I got to see him pretty close. Next time I'm going to have to come to say hi to you, Mystery Jack. Hopefully you're watching this video. But King Gizzard, all 3 nights, was amazing. But night 3, I feel, was just transcendent. It was special. It was great. It was amazing. And frankly, I don't know if I'll ever see a set that good again in my life. And at the perfect time in my life. So that's 12 shows, one summer, one poor man who works a nearly minimum wage job. And was it worth it? Yes. Yes, it was. Would I do it again? No. I'm never doing that again. I have no money. My car. Do you know how many miles I put on my car this summer and how many issues it has right now that I can't fix? Because instead of paying for like a new muffler, I got tickets to see King Gizzard 2 nights in a row. I got tickets to see Black Midi in Cleveland. I got tickets to see some Turkish band. I feel like something that's very important as that we are young is that we should make mistakes and we should live in the moment. And I know this is something that you hear a lot, and it's kind of dangerous advice. But really, one thing that I did a lot in my senior year was work. And then I was like, I don't want to go to live shows because that's not productive. But really it is. You can really learn to socialize with people, and you learn to engage more with things. Maybe not 12 shows in one summer, but, try to get out there. But more importantly, and one thing I did not talk about, which I'm going to a show tonight as of recording this in Collision, is that get out and into your local scene. Because amazing bands like the ones I just talked about don't always come around. But there are always amazing bands around you. And hey, sometimes they're 10 minutes from your house. Sometimes they're in Chicago. In conclusion, thank you for watching. I'm sure I'm going to edit this video down a little bit. I've talked for 2 hours. I'm tired. People are starting to drive really fast on the road. I got to get going. Thank you so much.
Hey, yo, shout out Ocean Gate. Shout out Challenger disaster. Losing my grip, losing my weight. Running with a mission till I'm gazing at the gates. Laying ear to the spirit, gotta find a car place. Though spend a bit lesser when I'm in a bit of snakes. Hitting my rest, out a few plates. Keep a routine, I've been hitting every day. But the iron shipment's better when I'm spotted by the mates. Can't slip, can't trick, cause they're running same pace. Playing trace, playing place when I don't know it's what I hate. State, waiting for myself to make a change. Say, hey, blood drains from the wounds that I pray don't change. Then I gotta go get a band-aid. Giving my pay, run a relay. Got the baton, so it's time to run the race. Saying my grace, put in my place. Only got it cause he gave it, he can take it any day. Wait, SM57.